The lights dim gently. Welcome to the dimmed light. Breathe slowly and let the noise fade. The hour is late, and the castle has settled into a deep, resonant silence. Elian sits before his desk, his back resting against the sturdy wood of the chair. The work of the day is finished. The quill has been wiped clean. It rests now in its wooden tray. The ink pot is capped with a small stopper of cork. The black liquid inside is still and dark. The parchment has been rolled. It is tied with a thin ribbon of leather. The scroll lies on the edge of the desk. The desk itself is a landscape of oak. It is wide and heavy. Its surface is smooth, polished by years of sleeves and hands. There are stains of ink here and there. They are like old shadows on the wood. Elian breathes out slowly. The air in the room is still. It smells of dry paper. It smells of iron from the ink. There is a faint scent of beeswax from the candle. The candle flame is small. It is the only light in this high room. It casts a soft orange glow on Elian's hands. His hands are old. The skin is thin like parchment. The fingers are stained with a little ink. They are tired fingers. They have held the quill since sunrise. Now they rest on the cool wood. Elian feels the grain of the oak under his fingertips. It is a reassuring texture. It is solid and unchanging. He decides to stand up. The movement is slow. His robe rustles softly against the chair. The fabric is heavy wool. It is warm and scratchy. He pushes the chair back. The legs of the chair scrape gently on the stone floor. The sound echoes slightly in the high ceiling. This is the highest room in the tower. It is a place of solitude. It is a place where the wind is heard but not felt. Elian stands fully. He feels the weight of his own body. He feels the stiffness in his shoulders. He rolls his shoulders back slowly. A quiet breath escapes his lips. He turns toward the window. The window is tall and narrow. It is an arch cut deep into the thick stone wall. The wall is feet thick. It is a fortress wall. To reach the window, he must take 3 steps. His boots make no sound. The floor here is covered with a woven mat of rushes. The rushes are dry and sweet smelling. They soften the step. They keep the cold of the stone away from the feet. He reaches the window alcove. The air is cooler here. The stone walls radiate a chill. It is the chill of the coming winter. It is the chill of the night sky pressing against the castle. But the window is covered. A heavy curtain hangs from an iron rod. The curtain is made of dark velvet. It is thick and plush. It is the color of deep wine. The fabric is old but well made. It creates a wall against the draft. Elian reaches out his hand. He touches the velvet. The tiny fibers brush against his skin. It feels soft and dense. He can feel the cold air waiting behind it. The curtain is a shield. It separates the warmth of the room from the vast night. He grips the edge of the fabric. The velvet folds under his fingers. He pulls it aside very slowly. The heavy rings slide on the iron rod. They make a low, metallic shifting sound. The gap opens. The cold air touches his face instantly. It is crisp and clean. It smells of frost and night. There is no glass in this window. There is only the open air and the iron bars. Elian leans forward. He places his hands on the stone sill. The stone is freezing. It bites into his palms. But he does not pull away. The cold is grounding. It wakes him from the drowsiness of the desk. The stone is rough under his hands. He can feel the tiny pits in the masonry. He can feel the dust that has settled there. He looks out. The world outside is vast. The castle tower is high above everything. He is suspended in the dark. Above him, the sky is an endless ocean of black. There are no clouds tonight. The stars are piercingly bright. They look cold and distant. They do not flicker, they just stare. Elian tilts his head back slightly. He watches the constellation of the hunter. It hangs silently over the horizon. The sky feels immense. It makes the tower feel small. It makes Elian feel even smaller. He lowers his gaze. He looks down the side of the castle wall. The stones go down into the darkness. He cannot see the bottom of the tower. It disappears into the shadows of the courtyard. Further out, beyond the walls, lays the land. The landscape is swallowed by the night. But there are lights. Far below, in the valley, lies the village. The village is a cluster of tiny, orange sparks. They are the fires of the homes. They look fragile from this height. They flicker and tremble in the dark. Each point of light is a hearth. Each point of light is a family. From up here, they look like fallen stars. They are clustered close together. Elian watches one specific light. It is near the edge of the cluster. It blinks as if someone passed in front of it. The distance is great. The silence up here creates a separation. He cannot hear the village. He cannot hear the dogs barking. He cannot hear the carts on the road. He cannot hear the voices of the people. There is only the sound of the wind. The wind hisses softly against the corner of the tower. It is a lonely sound. It is the sound of high places. Elian takes a deep breath of the cold air. It fills his lungs. It chills him from the inside. He exhales a cloud of white mist. The mist drifts out the window. It dissolves into the night. He watches it vanish. He feels a sense of peace. The height gives him perspective. The height gives him safety. Up here, the troubles of the mud and the earth seem far away. He is a watcher. He is apart from the world below. His hands on the sill are becoming numb. The cold has seeped into his bones. He shifts his weight. His robe swings gently around his ankles. He looks at the velvet curtain again. It hangs motionless by his side. It waits to be closed. It waits to seal the room again. But he lingers a moment longer. He looks at the dark line of the forest beyond the village. It is just a blacker shape against the black sky. The world is asleep, or it is preparing to sleep. Elian feels his own eyelids growing heavy. The strain of the reading is catching up to him. His eyes feel dry. The cold air soothes them. He blinks slowly. Once, twice. He focuses on the texture of the stone sill again. He traces a crack in the rock with his thumb. The crack is filled with grit. It is a small detail in a massive tower. The tower is made of thousands of these stones, each one heavy, each one hauled up by hands long gone. He feels the solidity of the structure. It does not sway in the wind. It is rooted deep in the bedrock. He feels safe. This room is a shell, a hard stone shell protecting the soft knowledge inside, protecting the scrolls, protecting the ink, protecting him. He takes one last look at the distant village lights. They seem to be dimming. Perhaps the fires are dying down. Perhaps the people are sleeping. The connection is broken gently. Elian steps back. He removes his hands from the cold sill. His palms tingle with the return of warmth. He reaches for the curtain. His fingers find the thick velvet edge. He pulls it across the opening. The rings slide back with the same low sound. The view is gone. The stars are gone. The village is gone. The cold draft is cut off instantly. The room becomes still again. The air in the room feels suddenly warmer. It wraps around him like a blanket. The smell of the old paper returns. The smell of the beeswax returns. He stands in the alcove for a moment. He adjusts the folds of the curtain. He makes sure there is no gap. He ensures the night is fully shut out. The heavy fabric absorbs the sound of the room. It dampens the echo of his breath. He turns back toward the desk. The candle is burning lower. A drop of wax runs down the side of the candle. It hardens as it falls. Elian walks back to the center of the room. His feet sink into the rushes. The rustle is the only sound. He looks at his desk. He looks at the empty chair. He does not sit down again. His time in the tower is done for tonight. He must begin his journey down. But for now, he pauses. He stands in the center of the room. He listens to the silence. It is a thick, heavy silence. It is the silence of wealth. It is the silence of thick walls and high floors. No noise from the kitchens reaches here. No noise from the stables reaches here. He is alone in the sky. He rubs his cold hands together. The friction creates a little heat. He brings his hands to his face. He breathes warm air into his cupped palms. The sensation is comforting. He looks at the heavy wooden door of the room. It is closed. It leads to the corridor. It leads to the rest of the castle. He knows the path he must take. He knows the stairs. He knows the hallways. But he stays still for one more heartbeat. He appreciates the stillness. He appreciates the lack of demand. The parchment does not ask for ink. The candle does not ask for fire. The night does not ask for movement. Everything is paused. Elian's mind is slowing down. The thoughts of the day are settling like dust. He looks at the shadow of the desk on the floor. It is long and stretched. It merges with the darkness in the corner. The room feels timeless. It could be any year. It could be any century. Only the stone knows. And the stone is silent. Elian pulls his wool robe tighter around his shoulders. He feels the weave of the wool. It is familiar. It is his layer of protection. He is ready to leave the tower. He is ready to leave the sky. He moves towards the door. His hand reaches for the iron latch. The metal is cool, but not as cold as the window sill. He presses the latch down. The mechanism clicks softly. The door swings open. It reveals the darkness of the corridor beyond. He steps across the threshold. He leaves the smell of ink behind. He leaves the high window behind. He enters the shadow of the castle's heart. The journey down begins. But the peace of the high tower remains with him. It is a quiet memory in his mind. A memory of cold stone, a memory of distant lights, a memory of silence. Elian walks softly down the stone corridor. The air here is less biting than in the tower. He approaches a set of double doors. They are made of dark, polished mahogany. The wood gleams faintly in the shadows. He pauses for a moment. He has permission to enter. He pushes the heavy door open. It swings inward on silent, well-oiled hinges. There is no creak. There is no resistance. He steps across the threshold. Immediately, the world changes. The sound of his boots on stone vanishes. His feet sink into something soft. The floor is covered in layers of rugs. They are thick and woven with deep colors. Reds like crushed berries. Blues like the midnight sea. Golds that catch the faint light. These rugs are from far away. They have traveled across deserts and seas to be here. Elian takes a slow step. The wool yields under his weight. It is a sensation of pure luxury. It cushions every movement. It absorbs every sound. The room is steeped in silence. But it is a warm silence. A wave of heat washes over him. It is not the sharp heat of a sudden fire. It is a steady, radiating warmth. It comes from the great hearth on the far wall. The fireplace is vast. It is tall enough for a man to stand in. Inside, massive logs are burning. They do not crackle or pop. They glow with a deep, intense orange. The flames lick the wood lazily. They are fed and content. Elian feels the heat on his face. It flushes the cold from his cheeks. It seeps into his heavy wool robe. The air in this room is heavy. It has a texture of its own. It does not smell of dust or cold stone. It smells of richness. There is the scent of beeswax, pure and sweet. There is a hint of dried herbs hanging in bundles, lavender and rosemary, and something more exotic, a trace of spices, cinnamon perhaps, or cloves. scents that cost more than a village house. Elian breathes it in slowly. The air feels thick in his lungs. It is soothing, almost sleep-inducing. He looks around the chamber. The furniture is not like his desk. It is not merely functional. It is carved with intricate patterns. Leaves and vines twist around the legs of a table. Lions and griffins guard the arms of a chair. The wood is dark oak, heavy and solid. It has been polished until it shines like glass. Elian walks towards a large table. He runs his hand along the edge. The wood is smooth as water. There is not a single splinter. There is not a single rough patch. It feels oily and rich under his fingertips. On the table, objects rest in stillness. A goblet made of heavy pewter, a small box inlaid with mother of pearl, and a mirror. It is a small, handheld mirror, but the frame is solid silver. The metal is tarnished slightly, turning soft gray. Elian looks into the surface. The silver reflects the room. It reflects the glowing fire. It reflects the tapestries on the walls. The reflection is clearer than in any pond. It is a captured image of the room's stillness. Next to the mirror lies a piece of fabric. It is a robe discarded carelessly. Elian hesitates, then touches it. It is silk. It is cool to the touch. Unlike the warm air, it is slippery and fluid. It flows through his fingers like water. The texture is incredibly fine. There is no roughness, no weave that he can feel. It whispers as he lets it drop back. A soft sha sound, the sound of wealth, the sound of easy movement. He looks at his own sleeve. The rough, gray wool. The difference is vast. But here, in this room, everything is soft. Even the shadows seem softer here. They are not sharp black lines. They are gradients of gold and brown. The light from the fire dances on the walls. It illuminates a tapestry. The threads depict a hunting scene. Green forests and white horses. The threads are wool and silk mixed together. They dampen the acoustics of the room even further. Elian feels like he is inside a box lined with cotton. The world outside does not exist here. The wind outside cannot reach this place. The cold night is a forgotten memory. He moves towards the chair by the fire. It is empty. The Lord is not here. The seat is cushioned with red velvet. The velvet looks crushed where someone has sat. It holds the memory of a form. Elian stands near the warmth. He extends his cold hands towards the logs. The heat permeates his skin. It relaxes the muscles in his fingers. He watches the embers pulsing. They breathe in and out with the heat. Red to black, black to gold. It is a hypnotic rhythm. The room feels timeless. There is no sand in an hourglass here. There is only the slow consumption of the wood, the slow settling of the ash. Elian feels a heaviness in his legs. The warmth is making him drowsy. The thick rugs seem to invite him to rest. But this is not his place. He is a visitor in this golden warmth. He takes a step back. His boot sinks and rises from the wool pile. He looks at the silver mirror one last time. It catches a stray beam of firelight. It gleams like a star in the dark room. He looks at the heavy curtains covering the windows. They are not just velvet. They are embroidered with gold thread. The gold glimmers faintly in the shadows. They block every draught. They block every beam of moonlight. The room exists in its own perpetual twilight. A twilight of comfort. A twilight of safety. Elian feels the contrast deeply. The lightness of the silk. The weight of the furniture. The density of the air. Everything here is substantial. Everything here is permanent. He turns slowly. He navigates around the heavy oak table. He avoids the delicate stand holding a basin. He moves back towards the door. The transition approaches again. He reaches the edge of the rugs. His foot finds the hard stone threshold. The sensation is jarring but familiar. He steps out of the softness. He steps out of the warmth. He takes hold of the bronze handle. He pulls the heavy door towards him. As it closes, the view of the fire narrows. The orange glow becomes a sliver. Then it is gone. The door clicks shut. The silence of the corridor returns. But it is a different silence now. It is the silence of stone and space. The scent of spices is cut off. The scent of cool air returns. Elian stands there for a beat. He adjusts his rough wool robe. He feels the warmth still clinging to his skin. A ghost of the fire. He takes a breath. The air is fresher here. Less heavy. He turns away from the Lord's door. The corridor stretches out before him, long and dim. He must continue his walk. He must move through the heart of the castle, away from the velvet, away from the gold, into the stone. His footsteps begin again. Soft echoes on the flagstones, moving deeper into the night, moving towards the stairs that lead down. The memory of the silk stays on his fingertips. A smooth, fleeting sensation, fading as he walks, fading into the stone. The corridor waits. The shadows stretch. He walks on. The heavy mahogany door is closed behind him. The rich scent of spices and warm wood is cut off. Elian stands alone in the corridor. The transition is absolute. Here, the air is different. It is vast and cool. It smells of ancient mortar and cold draughts. The corridor stretches out before him. It is a tunnel of gray stone. It is long and wide, so wide that 5 men could walk abreast. The ceiling is lost in the shadows above. It is a vault of darkness. Elian adjusts his eyes to the change in light. Inside the Lord's chamber, the fire was a steady glow. Here, the light is uneven. Iron brackets are driven into the stone walls. They hold torches soaked in pitch. The torches are spaced far apart. Between them lie pools of shadow. Elian begins to walk. His boots strike the flagstones. Clack, clack. The sound is sharp. It travels away from him. It bounces off the hard walls. It returns as a faint echo. In the velvet room, his steps were swallowed. Here they are announced. The stone floor is smooth. It has been worn down by generations of feet. Knights, servants, lords, and kings. They have all polished these stones with their souls. Elian looks down at the gray expanse. The stones are large slabs. They are cold even through the leather of his boots. He walks through a pool of light. The torch above sizzles quietly. A drop of hot pitch falls. It lands on the stone with a tiny hiss. The flame dances in a draft he cannot feel. It throws his shadow against the wall. The shadow is long and distorted. It stretches out ahead of him. It glides over the rough surface of the masonry. Elian passes a row of pillars. They line the corridor like silent sentinels. They are thick, round columns of granite. He reaches out his hand as he passes. His fingertips graze the stone. It is startlingly cold. It is solid and unyielding. The texture is slightly gritty. It feels like the bone of the earth. These pillars hold up the weight of the castle. They do not rest. They do not sleep. They stand in the dark, bearing the load. Elian withdraws his hand. He tucks it back into his sleeve for warmth. The space feels immense. He feels small within it. This is the architecture of power. To have this much empty space is a luxury. To build walls this far apart is a sign of wealth. The air here is still, but it is not stagnant. It moves slowly, like a deep river. He passes a section of the wall covered in fabric. These are the great tapestries. They hang from the ceiling almost to the floor. In the daylight, they are colorful. They tell stories of hunts and battles. But in the torchlight, they are just dark shapes. Elian slows his pace. He looks at the woven wool. The colors are muted. The greens are black. The reds are brown. He can see the faint outline of a horse. He can see the raised hand of a king. But the figures are silent. They are frozen in threads. The tapestry ripples slightly. A draft is moving behind it. The fabric breathes. It creates a soft, rustling whisper against the stone. It is a ghostly sound. Elian walks on. The corridor seems to go on forever. It is a repetitive rhythm. Torch, shadow, pillar, tapestry. Torch, shadow. He finds a rhythm in his breathing. In, out. It matches the rhythm of his steps. He is the only moving thing in this vast space. The solitude is profound. There are no guards here. The night watch is outside on the walls. Here, the castle is empty. It feels like walking through the ribcage of a giant beast. The ribs are the arches overhead. The spine is the long floor. Elian feels a sense of peace in the isolation. He does not need to speak to anyone. He does not need to bow. He is just a man walking through stone. He notices a small archway to his left. It leads to a servant's passage. It is dark and narrow. But he does not turn there yet. He stays on the main path, the grand path. The air gets slightly cooler as he moves forward. He is moving away from the central keep. He is moving towards the great hall. The echoes of his footsteps change pitch slightly. The ceiling is getting higher. The acoustics are opening up. He sees a moth fluttering near a torch. It is a small, pale speck. It circles the flame frantically. Then it dives back into the dark. Elian watches it disappear. He feels a kinship with the moth. A small thing in a large, dark place, seeking the light, but finding it too hot. He fixes his eyes on the end of the corridor. There is a large archway there. It is the mouth of the next chamber. Beyond it lies the darkness of the great hall. But for now, he is still in the tunnel. He is still between places. He creates a steady pace. He does not rush to the end. He lets the corridor lengthen. He lets the stones surround him. The walls seem to lean in slightly in the dim light. Then they pull back. It is a trick of the flickering flames. The light creates movement where there is none. Elian blinks slowly. His eyes are tired. The recurring patterns of the stones are hypnotic. Gray upon gray. Shadow upon shadow. He can smell the faint residue of smoke from the torches. It hangs in the upper air. It is a sharp, resinous smell. It mixes with the smell of the cold stone. It is the scent of the castle at night. He takes another step, and another. The heavy door he left seems miles away now. The velvet room is a dream. This stone reality is what remains. Solid, enduring, cold. Elian wraps his robe tighter. He prepares to leave the corridor. He prepares to enter the vastness of the hall. But he takes one last moment to feel the length of the walk. To feel the grandeur of the emptiness. The echo of his last step hangs in the air. It fades slowly. Silence returns to the corridor. Only the torches sputter. Only the shadows dance. Elian moves forward. Into the wider dark. Elian passes beneath the high archway. The stone corridor releases him. The great hall opens up before him. It is a cavernous space. It is the belly of the castle. The ceiling here is lost in absolute darkness. Only the massive wooden beams are visible. They cross the emptiness like ribs of a leviathan. The air is different here immediately. It is not cold and sterile like the corridor. It is thick. It is heavy with the memory of the evening. Elian stops to let his senses adjust. The silence here is not empty. It is a silence that follows great noise. It feels exhausted. It feels full. The smell hits him first. It is a complex, layered scent. It hangs low over the floor. There is the savory, heavy aroma of roasted meats. Venison and boar, fat dripping into the fire. There is the sharp, fruity tang of spilled wine. It has soaked into the wood. It has soaked into the rushes on the floor. There is the smell of baked bread, now cold. And underneath it all, the smoke. Not the clean wood smoke of outside, but the greasy, rich smoke of 1,000 torches. Most of the torches are extinguished now. Only a few sputter in the iron sconces on the walls. They cast long, wavering shadows. The shadows stretch across the floor. Elian begins to walk through the hall. He moves between the long tables. The tables are arranged in rows. They are massive slabs of oak. They are scarred by knives. They are polished by grease. They look like sleeping beasts in the dim light. The benches are pushed back. They sit at odd angles. It shows where men stood up quickly. It shows where the laughter was loudest. Elian runs a hand along the edge of a table. The wood is sticky. It holds the residue of the feast. He sees a platter left behind. It is made of pewter. It holds the bones of a bird. The bones are small and delicate. They shine in the torchlight. Beside it, a crust of bread. It is half eaten. It is a discard of plenty. Elian feels a hollow rumble in his own stomach. His meal was simple porridge. Here the waste alone could feed a family, but he does not judge. He only observes. It is the way of the castle. He looks down at his feet. The floor is a mosaic of debris. The rushes are scattered. Among the dried grass there are colors. Elian stoops slightly. He looks closer. Rose petals. They are bruised and trampled. They were thrown for the ladies. Now they lie in the dust. Their red color is turning black. There is a sparkle near the petals. It catches the faint light. Elian steps toward it. It is a silver goblet. It has rolled under the bench. It lies on its side. A drop of dark red wine stains the floor beneath it. The silver is etched with vines. It is a beautiful forgotten thing. Someone will find it in the morning. A servant will polish it. It will be filled again. But tonight it rests among the rushes. Elian straightens up slowly. His back creaks softly. He walks toward the center of the hall. The heat grows stronger here. The central hearth is a massive circle of stone. The fire has died down. It is no longer a roaring blaze. It is a bed of deep, pulsing coals. They glow with a sullen red light. They are covered in a blanket of gray ash. Every now and then, a spark pops. It rises into the dark air. It floats for a second, then dies. Elian stands by the hearth. He feels the warmth on his legs. It is a dry, intense heat. It radiates from the stones themselves. The fire has been burning for hours. It has consumed entire tree trunks. Now it sleeps. Elian looks at the high table. It stands on a raised dais at the far end. It overlooks the rest of the hall. It is draped in a white cloth. The cloth glows ghostly in the dark. It looks like an altar. There are heavy chairs behind it. The Lord's chair is the highest. It is empty now. It stands tall and imposing in the shadows. The hall feels incredibly vast. Elian feels very small in the middle of it. He imagines the noise that was here, the shouting, the music of the lutes, the clatter of cups, the barking of the hounds. Now there is nothing, just the settling of the building, just the hum of the dying fire. The atmosphere is heavy with satiety. The room feels full. It feels satisfied. It has been fed. Elian breathes in the warm, smoky air. It coats his throat. It tastes of luxury and excess. It is a thick, cloying taste. He prefers the clean cold of the tower. He prefers the sharp air of the window. Here, the air is too used. Too many breaths have mingled here. He turns away from the hearth. He navigates through the maze of tables. His robe brushes against a bench. The wool catches on a splinter. He pulls it free gently. He moves toward the far end of the hall. The shadows deepen here. The light of the hearth fades behind him. He passes a side table. A large bowl sits there. It is filled with water for washing hands. The water is still. It reflects the ceiling beams. A petal floats on the surface. It does not move. Everything is suspended. The feast is a memory. The physical remains are all that is left. The smells, the stains, the warmth. Elian feels the tiredness in his legs. The walk across the hall feels long. The floor is uneven in places. He has to step carefully. He avoids a puddle of spilled ale. It smells sour. He reaches the far wall. Here the stone is cool again. The heat of the fire does not reach this far. He finds the door he needs. It is smaller than the main archway. It is a modest door of oak. It leads to the service stairs. It leads down. Elian pauses with his hand on the latch. He looks back one last time. The great hall stretches out. A landscape of tables and shadows. The red eye of the fire watches him. The silver goblet glints in the distance. The rose petals lie still. The silence is heavy and absolute. It is the sleep of the castle, a sleep induced by wine and meat. Elian feels a stranger to it. He is lighter. He is emptier. He is ready to leave the heaviness behind. He presses the latch. The door opens with a groan. It is a heavy, wooden sound. It breaks the spell of the hall. Elian steps through. He steps out of the rich, smoky air. He steps into the cooler stairwell. The door closes behind him. It shuts out the smell of the feast. It shuts out the dying embers. He is alone again. He is in the narrow places now. The descent begins. The way to the ground awaits. The latch clicks into place. The sound is sharp and final. The heavy oak door seals the great hall away. Elian stands on the landing. The world has narrowed. Behind him was the vastness of the feast. Ahead of him is the tight coil of the stairwell. This is not a staircase for lords. It is not wide enough for two to walk side by side. It is a service stair. It is built for function. It is built for speed and defense. The walls are close. They are made of rough, hewn stone. There are no tapestries here. There is no wood paneling to soften the chill. There is only the raw skeleton of the castle. Elian takes a breath. The air is different instantly. The smell of roasted meat is gone. The smell of wine is gone. In their place is the smell of dust. the smell of cold mortar, the smell of ancient drafts. It is a cleaner scent. It clears his head. He looks down into the spiral. It twists away into the darkness below. The light is scarce here. There are no torches on the walls. Only a faint gray light filters from somewhere far below. Or perhaps it is his eyes adjusting. He reaches out his hand. He finds the central stone pillar. It is the axis of the spiral. It holds the stairs together. The stone is cold under his palm. It is smooth, worn by centuries of hands. Hands of servants carrying water. Hands of soldiers carrying steel. Now, the hand of a scribe carrying nothing. Elian begins the descent. He steps onto the first wedge-shaped stone. His boot finds the center of the step. The stone is dipped in the middle. It is a basin worn by footsteps. He steps down. 1. He steps down. 2. The rhythm is established immediately. It is a circular rhythm. His body tilts slightly to the left. He leans into the turn. The motion is repetitive. It is hypnotic. Round and round, down and down. The walls seem to rotate around him. The stone ceiling is low. He instinctively bows his head slightly. He is safe, but the space demands humility. He moves deeper into the tower's roots. The temperature begins to drop. With every turn of the spiral, the heat fades. The warmth of the upper floors is rising. The cold of the earth is rising to meet him. He feels it on his ankles first, then on his hands, then on his face. It is a creeping cold. It is the breath of the ground. He passes a narrow slit in the wall. It is an arrow loop. It is just a thin vertical slice of the night. He pauses for a heartbeat. A draft of air shoots through the slit. It is icy. It hisses as it enters the stairwell. It creates a low, mournful sound. Ooh. Like a flute played by the wind. Elian feels the breeze on his cheek. It smells of wet leaves. It smells of the coming rain. It is a sharp reminder of the world outside. He continues his descent. His knees feel the movement. They are old joints. They prefer the flat ground, but they know this rhythm well. He places his weight carefully. He trusts the stone. The stone does not move. It is the most solid thing in his life. His robe brushes against the outer wall. Swish. Scrape. The wool catches on the rough masonry. It is a dry, textured sound. In the silence of the stairwell, it sounds loud. He is descending through the layers of the castle. He passes the level of the guest chambers. He sees a small landing. A wooden door, barred from the inside. No sound comes from behind it. He continues down. The spiral creates a sense of vertigo, not of falling, but of spinning. The world is a corkscrew. He focuses on the central pillar. His hand never leaves it. It is his anchor. It guides him through the darkness. The light gets dimmer the lower he goes. The shadows from the arrow slit stay behind. He is moving into the foundation. The stones of the wall change here. They are larger. They are darker. They are the great blocks that sit on the bedrock. They are damp. He can smell the moisture. It is the smell of the earth itself. It is a heavy, grounding scent. The air feels denser here. It does not flow as freely as in the tower. It sits still. It waits. Elian's breathing is steady. In through the nose, out through the mouth. He counts the steps in his mind. 20, 30, 40. The descent feels longer than the climb. Perhaps because he is tired. Perhaps because the darkness distorts time. He feels the weight of the castle above him. Tons of stone. Rooms of velvet. Halls of fire. All of it resting on these walls. All of it pressing down. But down here it is quiet. There is no luxury here. There is only structure. There is only the bare necessity of stone. Elian finds comfort in this. It is honest. It hides nothing. His foot reaches for the next step. He expects the drop. But his boot meets flat ground. He has reached the bottom landing. He stops. His body sways slightly. The memory of the spiral is still in his legs. He feels like he is still turning. He takes a moment to find his balance. He stands on a flagstone floor. It is uneven. Roots of old trees might be pressing underneath deep below. The air here is cold and still. Before him is a final door. It is not like the mahogany door. It is not like the service door. This is a barrier. It is made of thick planks of oak. They are darkened by age and weather. They are bound with iron bands. The iron is rusted in places. It looks like a rib cage across the wood. There is no latch. There is a heavy iron bar resting in brackets. But tonight the bar is lifted. The way is not locked for him. Elian stands in the small stone vestibule. He adjusts his cloak. He pulls the wool collar up. He prepares for the true cold. The stairwell has been a tunnel of transition. It has stripped away the warmth of the fire. It has stripped away the smell of the feast. It has reset his senses. He is ready for the night. He looks back at the stairs one last time. They disappear upward into the gloom. They are a silent coil. They wait for the next traveler, but for now, they are empty. Elian turns to the heavy door. He places both hands on the wood. It feels like touching a cold tree. He can feel the grain of the timber. He can feel the strength of the iron. He pushes. The door is heavy. It requires his weight. It resists at first. Then it yields. The hinges groan. A low, deep sound. The sound of heavy metal moving. A gap opens. The night air rushes in. It is not a draft now. It is the wind itself. It wraps around his legs. It carries the sound of the courtyard, the crunch of gravel, the rustle of dry grass. Elian steps through the gap. He leaves the spiral behind. He leaves the interior behind. He steps onto the solid earth. The descent is complete. The stone shell is broken. He is out. The sky opens up above him again. But this time, he is at the bottom of the well, looking up. The tower looms high above, a dark shadow against the stars. He has traveled from the peak to the roots, and now the ground waits for his feet. The journey continues on the earth. Elian stands on the edge of the inner courtyard. The heavy door of the keep has closed behind him. He is now within the open air of the castle grounds. The sky is a vast dome above the stone walls. The clouds have moved slightly. They reveal the moon. It is a pale, waning crescent. It casts a weak, silver light on the stones. Elian wraps his cloak tighter around his chest. The air here is moving. It swirls around the corners of the buildings. It carries the dampness of the night. He begins to walk across the courtyard. The ground beneath his boots changes. It is no longer smooth flagstone. It is gravel. Small crushed stones. They shift under his weight. Crunch, crunch. The sound is loud in the quiet night. It is a gritty, earthly sound. It contrasts with the silent wool of the Lord's chamber. It contrasts with the echo of the corridors. Here, the sound is absorbed by the earth. Elian looks ahead. The gatehouse looms in the distance. It is a massive block of shadow. It is the mouth of the castle. Two great towers flank the entrance. They rise up like stone giants. Their tops are jagged against the stars. Elian walks steadily towards them. His breath forms small clouds that vanish instantly. The walk across the courtyard feels long. The space is wide and exposed. He feels the wind pushing gently against his back. It urges him forward. He reaches the shadow of the gatehouse. The darkness deepens here. The moon cannot reach this spot, but there is a light. A single torch burns in a bracket on the wall. The flame is whipped by the wind. It struggles and dances. It casts a flickering orange glow on the gate. The gate is immense. It is made of ancient oak planks. The wood is dark, almost black with age. It is thick and scarred. Iron bands cross the wood horizontally. They are studded with heavy bolts. The iron looks wet. The night mist has settled on the metal. It glistens faintly in the torchlight. Elian stops for a moment before the gate. He looks at the hinges. They are massive. Each one is the size of a man's arm. They are rusted and oiled. They hold the weight of the barrier. They are the muscles of the castle's defense. Standing there is a guard. He is leaning against the stone wall. He is wrapped in a heavy woolen cloak, much like Elian's. But his cloak bears the crest of the Lord. A pike rests against his shoulder. The metal tip catches a spark of light. The guard does not challenge Elian. He knows the scribe. He knows the routine of the night. He is half asleep. His eyes are heavy. He lifts his chin slightly. A silent nod. A slow, weary acknowledgement. Elian nods back. No words are spoken. Words would break the stillness. Words are unnecessary in the cold. The main gates are barred shut. They will not open until dawn. But there is a smaller door. a wicket gate cut into the larger timber. It is a door within a door. It is human-sized. The guard reaches out a gloved hand. He lifts a heavy iron latch. Clank. The sound is dull and heavy. He pushes the small door open. It swings inward. A draft of air rushes through the opening. It comes from the outside world. It smells different. It smells of wet grass. It smells of the river. It smells of freedom and mud. Elian steps toward the opening. He has to duck his head slightly. The frame is low. He steps over the high wooden threshold. He passes through the thickness of the gate. The wood is feet thick. It is a tunnel of timber. For a second, he is between worlds. He is neither in the castle nor out. He is in the transition. He emerges on the other side. He stands on the drawbridge. The bridge is down. It spans the dark ditch of the moat. The planks of the bridge are thick and uneven. They rumble hollowly under his boots. Thud, thud. Below him, in the darkness, is the water. He cannot see it clearly, but he can hear it. A soft lapping sound against the stone banks. It is a stagnant, quiet sound. Elian walks to the end of the bridge. He steps off the wood. He steps onto the solid ground. He has left the stone shell. He turns back to look at the gatehouse. From here, it looks even larger. It is a wall of exclusion. The torchlight inside the archway is just a faint glow now. The castle rises behind it, a silhouette of jagged lines and towers. It looks impenetrable. It looks like a mountain carved by men. Inside, there are velvet rugs. Inside, there are fires and spices. But Elian is outside now. The air is colder here. There are no walls to block the wind. It comes across the fields. It brushes against his face with a cool touch. He feels a sense of release. The weight of the stone is off his shoulders. The pressure of the heavy architecture is gone. Here, the world is flat and open. The road stretches out before him. It is a ribbon of packed dirt and stones. It leads down the hill. It leads towards the village. The moonlight is stronger here. There are no shadows from the towers to hide it. It bathes the road in a pale, milky light. The trees lining the road are still. Their branches are bare. They look like ink drawings against the sky. Elian takes a deep breath. The air tastes of damp earth. It tastes of decaying leaves. It is a rich, organic scent. It is the scent of the living world. He adjusts his pace. He falls into a walking rhythm. His staff taps against the ground. Tap, step, tap, step. The castle recedes behind him. It becomes a backdrop, a memory of power. Elian is just a figure in the landscape now, a small gray shape moving in the dark. He feels the cold seeping through his boots. The ground is wet with dew. It is softer than the courtyard gravel. It yields slightly. He feels the connection to the soil. This is the world of the common. This is the world of the poor. It is open. It is wet. It is cold. But it is also quiet in a different way. It is the quiet of nature, not the silence of empty halls. Somewhere an owl hoots, a low, mournful note. It floats through the trees. Elian listens to it. It is a comforting sound. It belongs to the night. He wraps his hands in his sleeves. He lowers his head against the breeze. He walks away from the gate. He walks away from the guard. He walks towards the slumbering village. The transition is complete. The gate is closed. The bridge is crossed. He is alone with the road, and the road waits for him, taking him down, taking him home. The road from the castle levels out. The slope ends. Elian's boots find flat ground again. But the texture of the world has changed. Up on the hill, the road was hard. It was packed stone and gravel. It was built for horses and carts. Here, the ground is softer. It is the earth of the valley floor. It is dark and yielding. Elian takes a step. His boot sinks slightly. It leaves a shallow impression in the soil. The ground is uneven here. There are no flagstones to guide the foot. There are no masons to smooth the path. There is only the memory of rain. The mud is not deep, but it is present. It holds the dampness of the week. It makes a soft, sucking sound as he lifts his heel. Squelch. A quiet, wet sound. It is the sound of the village. Elian adjusts his stride. He walks more carefully now. He cannot stride blindly as he did in the corridor. Here, the earth has ruts. Here, there are stones half buried. He must rid the ground with his feet. The darkness is deeper here. The castle gatehouse had a torch. The castle walls had moonlight reflecting off stone. But here, the light is absorbed. The ground drinks the shadows. The houses crowd in on either side. They are not tall like the towers. They are low and huddled. They sit close to the earth. They look like mounds of shadow growing from the soil. Elian walks between them. The street is narrow. It is not a straight line. It winds and curves. It follows the natural lay of the land. There is no grand design here. There is only necessity. Elian reaches out a hand in the dark. He brushes the wall of a cottage. The texture is rough. It is not cold stone. It is wattle and daub, dried mud mixed with straw. It feels textured and organic. It holds the heat of the day longer than stone. It feels almost alive under his fingers. He can feel the ridges of the woven sticks underneath. It is a humble wall. It was built by the hands that live inside. Elian withdraws his hand. He wipes the grit onto his robe. The air in the village is distinct. It is dense. It sits heavy between the houses. It does not have the drafty freshness of the high tower. It is a cocktail of earthly smells. The strongest scent is wood smoke. It hangs low like a blanket. It comes from 100 small hearths. It is a sweet, acrid smell. It smells of pine and peat. It stings the nose pleasantly. It is the smell of warmth in a cold night. Underneath the smoke, there is the smell of straw. damp, rotting straw, and dry, fresh straw. It is the smell of bedding, bedding for animals and bedding for men. There is the scent of wet wool, and the faint, earthy odor of the livestock. It is a crowded smell. It tells a story of life lived in close quarters. Elian passes a house that is lower than the rest. The roof slopes down sharply. The eaves hang low over the street. He could touch the roof if he reached up. The roof is thatched. Layers of reeds and stalks bundled together. They are thick and heavy. In the moonlight, the thatch looks like fur. It looks soft and shaggy. Elian can hear the wind rustling the dry reeds. Swish. Rustle. It is a gentle, whispering sound. Rain would slide off this roof silently. It would not chatter like it does on slate. The thatch holds the silence. It insulates the house. It keeps the secrets inside. Elian walks on. The village seems asleep. There are no voices. There are no footsteps other than his own. But it is not the empty silence of the castle hall. It is a breathing silence. Behind these mud walls, people are sleeping. Families are huddled together. He can sense the presence of life. It is a warm, clustered feeling. In the castle, the rooms were miles apart. Here, a sneeze would carry through the wall. Here, a child crying would be heard by the neighbor. There is an intimacy in this poverty, a shared existence. Elian steps around a puddle. The water has collected in a deep rut. The surface is perfectly still. It acts like a black mirror. It catches the reflection of the crescent moon. A tiny slice of silver in the mud. It shakes slightly as his foot strikes the ground nearby. The ripple distorts the moon. Then it settles again. The water is dark and murky. It is mixed with the earth. Elian pulls his cloak closer. The dampness here is different. It rises from the ground. It wraps around his ankles. It is a clinging, wet cold. Not the biting, clean cold of the wind. It seeks the bone. He passes a small lean to attach to a cottage. He hears a sound from within. A heavy, rhythmic shifting. The crunch of dry grass. A low, guttural breath. It is a cow. Or perhaps a goat. It is sleeping just inches from the street. Elian pauses. He listens to the animal breath. It is slow and steady. It is a peaceful sound. The animal is warm. He can almost feel the heat radiating from the shelter. In the village, men and beasts live together. They share the warmth. They share the roof. It is a survival alliance. The castle has stables far away. The horses there live better than these people. But here, the connection is closer. Elian moves on. His staff makes a dull sound on the dirt. Thump, thump. The street widens slightly. He passes the village well. It is a low stone circle in the mud. A wooden bucket hangs from a rope. It sways gently in the breeze. The rope creaks. It is the only mechanical sound. The well is the heart of the village. By day, it is loud with gossip and water. By night, it is a dark, open eye. Looking down into the earth, Elian looks at the ground around the well. It is trampled into a mire. Thousands of footprints have merged here. They are frozen in the mud. A chaotic map of daily life. He skirts the edge of the mud. He finds a patch of grass. It is wet with dew. It brushes against his boots. It cleans the mud from the leather. The sensation is soft and sweeping. He looks up at the sky. Between the rooftops, the sky is a narrow river of stars. The houses block the horizon. The view is limited. In the tower, he could see the edge of the world. Here, he can only see what is right in front of him. The world has shrunk. It has become immediate. It has become tactile. He passes a window. It is not glass. Glass is for the Lord. This is a shutter of wood. It is closed tight, but light bleeds through the cracks. A faint orange glow. Someone is still awake, perhaps tending a fire, perhaps rocking a cradle. The light is weak. It struggles against the dark, but it is warm. It is a beacon in the gray street. Elian imagines the inside, the single room, the smoke hanging in the rafters, the earthen floor, the simplicity of it. There are no velvet curtains there. There are no silver mirrors. Just the fire and the faces. He feels a strange longing, not for the poverty, but for the closeness, for the smallness of the space. It feels easier to fill. The castle is too big to fill. The village is human-sized. Elian continues his walk. The smell of the wood smoke is in his clothes now. It has replaced the incense of the castle. He breathes it in deeply. It tastes of oak and ash. He feels the fatigue in his legs. The uneven ground is tiring. It demands constant balance. His ankles work with every step. He enters a patch of deeper shadow. An overhanging tree blocks the moon. The darkness is absolute for a moment. He relies on his feet to see. He feels the hardness of a root. He steps over it. He feels the softness of moss. He steps onto it. He navigates by touch. He is one with the street. He is a shadow moving among shadows. The village is a labyrinth of texture. Rough walls, soft mud, scratchy thatch, wet grass. It is a sensory world. It is not a visual world like the castle. The castle is built to be seen. The village is built to be felt. Elian emerges from the tree's shadow. The moon greets him again. He sees the path ahead. It leads towards the edge of the cluster, towards his own dwelling. But he is not there yet. He is still deep in the maze of mud and thatch. He hears a dog bark in the distance. A muffled, sleepy sound. It is not an alarm, just a dream. The silence rushes back in. It covers the street like a tide. Elian walks on. The rhythm of his walk is slower now. He is matching the pulse of the village. Slow, enduring, quiet. The mud holds his boots for a fraction of a second, then releases them. A gentle grip, a connection to the land. He is walking on the earth that feeds them. He is walking on the earth that houses them. He feels grounded. He feels heavy. He feels home. The high tower is a distant dream. The cold stars are far away. Here, there is only the mud, and the thatch, and the sleep of the common world. Elian is part of it. He moves through the dark. Content in the shadows. Content in the quiet, walking home. Elian continues his path through the village. The darkness is thick between the houses. But ahead, there is a break in the shadows. A soft, amber glow spills onto the muddy street. It creates a pool of light in the gray world. It comes from a small cottage. It sits slightly apart from the others. The walls are low and curved. The roof is heavy with old straw. Elian recognizes this house. It belongs to the village weaver. He slows his pace as he approaches. He enters the edge of the light. The light is warm and inviting. It does not come from a glass pane. Glass is too precious for this street. The window is a simple square cut into the clay wall. It is covered by a sheet of stretched, oiled parchment. The parchment is thin and translucent. It glows from within. It looks like a piece of captured sun. The oil in the skin turns the light golden. It softens the harshness of the flame inside. Elian stops. He stands just outside the radius of the glow. He does not want to intrude. He only wants to borrow a moment of warmth. He leans slightly on his staff. The air around the cottage smells different. It pushes back the smell of damp earth. It carries the scent of life. The strongest scent is bread. It is a simple, flat loaf baking on a hot stone. The smell is nutty and sweet. It is the smell of flour and water and fire. It is the smell of survival. Elian breathes it in. It triggers a memory of hunger. But more than that, it triggers a memory of home. It is a stark contrast to the roasted meats of the castle. That was the smell of a feast. This is the smell of sustenance. Underneath the bread, there is another scent. The smell of raw wool. The smell of lanolin. It is a greasy, animal scent. It hangs heavy in the air. Near the wall, a wooden rack stands in the shadows. Skeins of yarn hang from it to dry. They are thick and dyed in earthy tones. Madder red, woad blue, onion skin yellow. They sway gently in the night breeze. Elian reaches out a hand. He brushes the hanging wool. It is coarse. It still holds the twist of the spindle. It feels damp and heavy. This is the fabric of the village. It is not the silk of the Lord's chamber. It is not smooth. It is built to endure. It is built to keep the wind out. Elian turns his attention back to the window. The parchment acts as a veil. He cannot see the details clearly. He sees only silhouettes, shadows moving against the golden light. He sees a large, looming shape, the loom. It stands in the corner, silent for the night. Its wooden frame casts a grid of shadows. He sees a smaller shape moving, a figure stooping, perhaps tending the fire. And then he hears the sound. It is very faint. It drifts through the thin wall. It is a voice, a woman's voice. She is humming. The melody is simple and repetitive. 3 notes up, 3 notes down. It is a lullaby. The rhythm matches the rocking of a cradle. Elian stands perfectly still. The sound is fragile in the night air. If the wind blew harder, it would be lost. But the wind has died down. The village holds its breath to listen. The voice is tired but gentle. It carries the weight of a long day. It carries the tenderness of the night. Elian imagines the scene inside. The single room. The floor of packed earth, swept clean. The hearth in the center. The fire burning low, just enough to warm the sleep. He imagines the bodies huddled together. In the castle, everyone has a room. Privacy is the luxury of the rich. Here, heat is shared. The children sleep in a pile of blankets. They borrow warmth from each other. They borrow warmth from the parents. There is no loneliness in this cottage. There is only the closeness of the pack. Elian sees the light flicker. The shadow on the parchment dances. The light source is not a wax candle. It is a tallow dip, a rush dipped in animal fat. It burns with a sputter. It gives off a faint, acrid smoke. It is a poor man's light. It does not burn steady and white. It burns yellow and greasy, but it pushes back the dark just the same. It illuminates the wooden bowls on the table. Bowls carved from ash wood. Empty now, but waiting for the morning. Elian feels a strange sense of peace watching this house. It is a self-contained world. It needs nothing from the castle tonight. It has its own heat. It has its own song. The lullaby continues. Soft and low, it acts as a balm on Elian's mind. He feels his own eyelids drooping. The vibration of the song seems to travel through the ground. It reaches his boots. It travels up his spine. It tells him that the day is truly over. Work has ceased. The shuttle of the loom is still. The thread is cut. Now is the time for rest. He looks at the mud at his feet. It is illuminated by the window's glow. It looks like gold dust for a moment. Then the light wavers. Someone inside has moved in front of the flame. The window goes dark for a second. Then it brightens again. A shadow hand reaches out, perhaps smoothing a blanket, perhaps touching a child's forehead. The gesture is universal. It is the language of care. Elian feels the cold of the night pressing on his back. But his face is warm from the visual heat of the window. He is a spectator of this intimacy. He is separated by a wall of clay, but he feels connected by the humanity of it. The castle was high and cold and vast. This cottage is low and warm and small. The difference is physical. The difference is emotional. He takes a deep breath. The smell of the baking bread is fading. The fire inside is likely dying down. The lullaby is getting softer. The singer is falling asleep too. The notes become a hum. Then a whisper. Then silence. The house settles. The only sound left is the crackle of the cooling embers. Elian shifts his weight. His staff sinks a fraction into the mud. He knows he must move on. He cannot stand here all night. He is a traveler on this road. But he takes the image with him. The golden square in the dark. The shadow of the loom. The song of the mother. It is a memory of peace. He turns away from the light. He steps back into the shadows. The darkness wraps around him again, but it feels less lonely now. He knows that life is sleeping just behind these walls. He knows that warmth exists nearby. He continues his walk down the street. The afterimage of the window floats in his vision. A square of amber, a beacon of the simple life. He walks past the drying wool. His robe brushes against it one last time. Swish. A soft farewell. He moves deeper into the village, towards the end of the road, towards his own rest. The weaver's cottage remains behind, a glowing ember in the night. Silent. Warm. Complete. Elian continues his solitary walk through the sleeping village. The glow of the weaver's cottage has faded behind him. He is back in the gray monochrome of the night. The air has grown colder. The dampness of the valley is settling. It hangs in the air like a fine mist. It touches everything. It touches the thatch. It touches the mud. And it touches Elian. He becomes acutely aware of what he is wearing. He feels the weight on his shoulders. His cloak is his shelter. It is an old garment. It is made of heavy, gray wool. The wool is not refined. It is not the soft fleece of a lamb. It is the coarse hair of an old sheep. It is thick and dense. He pulls the collar up tight against his neck. The fabric scratches his skin. It is a familiar irritation, a rough kiss. He feels the fibers against his jaw. They are stiff and wary. They prickle slightly with every step. But he does not pull away. The scratchiness is the price of warmth. Elian rubs the fabric between his thumb and forefinger. He feels the weave. It is a simple pattern. Over and under. Over and under. The threads are uneven. Some are thick like twine. Some are thin. There are small knots where the yarn broke and was tied again. It is a landscape of imperfections. He thinks back to the hour before. He remembers the Lord's chamber. He remembers the touch of the silk robe. The memory is vivid in his fingertips. The silk was cool. It was slippery. It had no friction. It flowed over the skin like water. It made no sound. It had no weight. To wear such cloth is to float. To wear such cloth is to be separated from the world. The silk does not grab the air. The silk does not hold the dust. But here in the mud, silk would be useless. The wind would cut right through it. The briars would tear it to shreds. The mud would stain it forever. Elian looks down at his own sleeve. It is dark in the shadow, but he knows the color. It is the color of a storm cloud. It is the color of dirt. It is a forgiving color. It hides the stains of ink. It hides the stains of soup. It hides the soot of the fire. The wool is honest. It does not pretend to be clean. It absorbs the life of its owner. It smells of the places he has been. He lifts his arm slightly to his face. He smells the wet fabric. It smells of the rain. It smells of the animal it came from. There is a faint, oily scent of lanolin. The oil that keeps the sheep dry. It keeps Elian dry too. The mist beads on the surface of the cloak. Tiny droplets of silver water. They sit on the hairs of the wool. They do not soak in immediately. The cloak is a shield. It is heavy, yes, but it is a protective weight. It feels like a hand pressing him down to the earth. It grounds him. He walks past a wooden fence. The wood is splintered and rough. He walks too close. His cloak brushes against a nail. Snag. He stops. He feels the tug. He looks down. A thread has caught. He pulls it gently. The thread stretches but does not break. He unhooks it. The wool springs back. It is resilient. If it were silk, there would be a tear. There would be a ruin. But the wool forgives the rough world. It is made for this environment. It is made for the sharp corners of the village. Elian adjusts the drape of the cloak. It falls heavily around his legs. It creates a tent of warmth. Inside, his body heat is trapped. He can feel the difference in temperature. Outside the wool, the night is freezing. Inside the wool, it is livable. He thinks about the layers underneath. He wears a tunic of linen. It is not the fine linen of the high table. It is homespun. It is beige and stiff. It softens only after years of washing. It rubs against his ribs as he walks. It reminds him of his body. Rich men's clothes help them forget their bodies. Poor men's clothes remind them constantly. The belt around his waist is leather. It is old kawhide. It is cracked and dry. It creaks softly. Creak, creak. It holds everything together. It holds his knife. It holds his pouch. The weight of his entire outfit is substantial. He is carrying pounds of material. It makes his movements slower. It makes his movements deliberate. He cannot run like a deer. He must walk like an ox. He accepts this pace. The weight is a burden, but it is also a comfort. In the vast darkness, the weight tells him he is here. He is solid. He is real. The wind picks up again. It is a gust from the north. It rushes down the village street. It shakes the bare branches of the trees. It hits Elian. He braces himself. The wind strikes the wool. The fibers lock together. The weave tightens. The cold air pushes, but it does not enter. The cloak blocks the wind. Elian feels the impact, but not the chill. He buries his chin deeper into the collar. The scratchy wool warms his face. He is grateful for the roughness. He is grateful for the thickness. He imagines the Lord in this street, shivering in his thin tunics, freezing in his velvet slippers. Wealth has its place. It belongs behind stone walls. It belongs near great fires. But out here, poverty is the better armor. The rough materials are the survivors. Elian walks on. His boots are heavy too. Thick leather soles. Hobnails of iron. They protect his feet from the stones. They protect his feet from the cold mud. He feels the solidity of his gear. He is equipped for the night. He passes a bush of holly. Its leaves are sharp and spiked. He brushes past it without fear. His clothes can take the thorns. There is a freedom in this durability. He does not have to be careful. He does not have to worry about a tear. He can lean against a wall. He can sit on a log. He can kneel in the dirt. His clothes will endure. They will outlast him. This cloak belonged to his father. It will belong to someone else after him. It is a permanent thing. Silk is fleeting. Silk rots. Silk fades. Wool remains. Elian feels a sense of kinship with the texture. He is like the wool. He is not flashy. He is not soft. He is worn. He is gray. But he is still useful. He still keeps the cold out. The sensory memory of the silk fades. The ghost of the smooth fabric leaves his fingertips. The reality of the scratchy wool takes over. It is the only reality that matters now. He feels the moisture in the air increasing. The mist is turning into a light drizzle. He hears the tiny taps of water on his hood. Pat, pat. The wool begins to absorb the water. It gets heavier. It smells stronger. The smell of wet sheep rises around him. It is an ancient smell. It is the smell of the hills. Elian does not mind. He knows the water will not reach his skin for hours. The wool drinks the rain so he doesn't have to. He trudges forward. The weight of the cloth is a rhythmic companion. It swings with his stride. Left, right. The hem drags slightly in the tall grass. It collects burrs and seeds. Small hitchhikers from the journey. He is gathering the village on his clothes. He is part of the landscape. He is not separate from it. The rich man glides over the world. The poor man wears the world. Elian feels the fatigue in his shoulders. The straps of his under tunic dig in slightly. But it is a good fatigue. It is the feeling of having lived the day. He sees the turn in the road ahead. He is nearing his own door. He looks forward to taking the weight off. But for these last few steps, he embraces it. He embraces the scratch. He embraces the heaviness. He embraces the gray. It is his uniform. It is his skin. It is the weight of his life. And tonight, in the cold and the dark, it is enough. It is warm. And that is the only luxury he needs. He pulls the cloak tighter one last time. A gesture of finality against the wind. He walks into the deeper dark, secure in his rough shell, protected by the common thread. Elian stops. He has reached the end of the path. Before him stands a simple wooden door. It is not the iron-bound gate of the castle. It is not the heavy mahogany of the Lord's chamber. It is a door of pine planks. It is weathered gray by the rain. There is no guard here. There is no lock. There is only a simple latch of wood and string. Elian reaches out. His hand knows this texture better than any other. He lifts the latch. Click. A soft, familiar sound. He pushes the door open. It swings inward without a groan. He knows exactly where the hinges need oil. He steps across the threshold. He brings the night air in with him for a moment. Then, he closes the door. He leans his back against it. He pushes the world out. The silence here is different. It is not the vast, echoing silence of the corridor. It is a close, personal silence. It is the silence of a space that knows him. The room is dark, but he does not need to see. He knows the number of steps to the table. 3 steps. He moves through the blackness. His hand finds the corner of the small table. He feels the cool surface of a clay oil lamp. It is waiting for him. He finds the small box of tinder. The sound of the flint striking is sharp. Click. Spark. A tiny flame catches the wick. It starts as a blue speck. Then it grows into a small, steady yellow tear. The light expands. It pushes the shadows into the corners. It reveals the room. It is a modest space. There are no tapestries on the walls, only the rough plaster of the cottage. There are no rugs on the floor, only the packed earth swept smooth. But it is enough. Elian lets out a long, slow breath. He begins to unfasten his cloak. His fingers are stiff from the cold. They fumble slightly with the clasp. Then the leather gives way. The heavy wool garment slides from his shoulders. It falls onto a wooden stool. The weight is gone. Elian feels a sudden lightness. His shoulders drop. His spine relaxes. He is no longer a scribe. He is no longer a traveler. He is just a man in his room. He rubs his arms. The air in the room is cool but dry. It holds the faint scent of dried sage hanging from the rafters. It holds the scent of old paper from his own small stack of books. He moves toward his bed. It is not a bed of feathers and velvet. It is a wooden frame with a mattress of straw. The straw is covered with a clean linen sheet. There is a thick woolen blanket at the foot. Elian sits on the edge of the bed. Creak. The wood complains gently. It is a sound he hears every night. It marks the end of the day. He bends down. He unlaces his boots. The leather is wet and stiff. He pulls them off one by one. Thump, thump. He places them neatly by the wall. His feet are free. He wiggles his toes in the cool air. The relief is physical. The ground has stopped moving beneath him. The mud is outside. The stone is far away. He swings his legs up. He lies back. The straw mattress rustles beneath him. It shifts to take the shape of his body. It is firm, but it yields. He pulls the heavy blanket up to his chin. It is rough, like his cloak, but it is dry. It warms him quickly. He stares up at the ceiling. The rafters are dark lines against the flickering light. He watches the shadows dance. They are slow and rhythmic. His mind begins to drift. The images of the evening float by like leaves on a stream. The high tower window, the cold stars, the fire in the great hall, the smell of the roast, the winding stair, the mud of the street, the weaver's golden window. They all blend together now. The contrast between the silk and the wool fades. The difference between the stone and the thatch fades. They are just textures in the dark. Elian's eyes feel heavy. They are gritty with sleep. He blinks, and the room blurs. He looks at the lamp one last time. The oil is low. The flame is small. He reaches out a hand. He does not pinch the wick. He cups his hand behind the flame. He blows gently. Whoosh! The light vanishes. The room plunges into darkness. But it is not a frightening dark. It is a soft, velvet dark. It wraps around him like a second blanket. The afterimage of the flame lingers in his vision, a blue spot that slowly fades. Now, his other senses take over. He hears the wind outside. It brushes against the thatch roof. Hush! Hush! It is a lullaby provided by the valley. He hears the settling of the house, a tiny click in the wood, a shifting of the earth. His breathing slows down. In, out. It matches the rhythm of the wind. He feels the warmth of his own body trapped under the blanket. It is a safe warmth. He is suspended in the moment between waking and sleeping. The castle on the hill is asleep. The village in the mud is asleep. Elian is the bridge between them. But now the bridge is closing. His thoughts become fragmented, soft, quiet. The smell of ink is gone. The smell of smoke is gone. There is only the neutral scent of rest. His limbs feel heavy, as if they are sinking into the mattress. He does not fight it. He lets go. The day is done. The scroll is rolled. The ink is dry. The walk is over. Peace settles over him like dust. Fine, silent, inevitable. He takes one more deep breath. The air fills his lungs, cool and still. He exhales. The tension leaves his body with the breath. He is still. He is safe. He is home. The lamp is out. The room is quiet. The wind whispers softly against the walls. Everything slows down. Everything stops. Now take a deep breath, and may you have a peaceful sleep.